It's summertime. It's hot outside. You watch the weatherman's just constantly scaring you about how hot it is outside, right? It's 95 degrees with a heat index of 115. They can't say it's 115 because the thermometer doesn't say that. It says 95, right? And a lot of people are acting like it's hotter now than it used to be when we were growing up, right? It's just hotter. You know, out in the summertime it gets hotter. Here's probably the simple truth about it is we have become accustomed to air conditioning. Most of you my age or older probably grew up without air conditioning. I remember my mom and dad got an air conditioner when I was about 16 or 17 years old, and that was in the 90s, the 1990s, not 1890s. You know, my grandparents, they didn't have an air conditioner until they got up into their 70s maybe, and they hardly ever ran it because they built their house in between two big old oak trees that cast shade down on the house. And it always kept it cooler, right? But I think we've become accustomed to heated and cool spaces. That's why it feels so cold outside in the winter or so hot during the summer. You know, most of y'all know I've told you, if it gets above 60 degrees, I'm sweating. I am pouring sweat like somebody threw me in a river. But the simple fact is, I can remember sweating as bad as I do now as I did when I was younger, right? I've told you the stories when I played football that during the winter people would huddle around me because my body put off heat. They would all want to be around me because I was throwing heat off. I'm just one of them, what would you call it, hot-blooded? I don't know, but your body puts off a lot of heat, right? I mean, nowadays the kids are outside, and most adults is to and from a building to their car, right? That's the most they're spending outside. They're getting out of their car going into a building, or they're coming out of the building going into their car. Well, they get home and they got to mow the yard, right? And they're like, it's hot outside. It's because we're not used to being hot. We're being outside as much as we used to be. We are accustomed to air conditioning. Plain and simple. Now, does it feel hotter? Maybe. When you get older, it may feel hotter than it did. But they're always trying to scare you. During the winter, you know, it's the other temperatures. It's cold, right? I'm sorry I'm sweating right now and I'm wiping my arms off. And it is ironic that I'm doing this video about air conditioning with the air conditioner going, but I am sweating because I just come in. But the point of this is climate change, right? The world's getting hotter. We hear that a lot, right? How do we know that we're not going through some kind of cycle? I understand they've got records, right? Well, we're going by the records. Okay, do you have records before people started keeping records? Well, no. Well, how do we not know we're going through a cycle that we have been through before in the past? Not you or I, but the earth, right? Maybe 1,000, 2,000 years ago, it was going through a heat cycle like this, right? We're getting to the point where everything is just, it's going to kill you, right? It's hot outside, it's going to kill you. It's cold outside, it's going to kill you. Who remembers this? Well, today it's going to be hot and muggy. If you live in the South, you've heard that growing up. It's going to be hot and muggy. Nowadays, they say, well, it's going to be hot and the heat index is going to be 115. You're sitting there like, okay, what I do? Because I'm telling you, most people do not spend a lot of time outdoors. They don't. They do not. The most outdoors they have is to and from a vehicle or from a house to a car or from a car to a house. Kids are the same way now. Now, full-blown SHTF happens, you don't have power, right? And you're going to have somebody saying, well, I've got a solar system, I got generators, I'm going to keep my power on, and when I get hot, I'm going to turn the air conditioner on, right? Eventually that stuff, we're talking full-blown SHTF, nothing's coming back. Eventually that stuff's going to break down, you're going to run out of fuel, your batteries are going to die, your charge controller's going to break, something's going to happen. And then you're going to be in that situation where you don't have nothing. Now, I'm not telling you to go outside and sit in the hot sun all day just to acclimatize yourself to it, but you understand what I'm saying. I don't think it's hotter than it was when I was a kid. I think we have just gotten used to being in air-conditioned spaces. Who remembers, if you're my age, you might not even have an air conditioner in your car when you were riding with your mom and dad. The air conditioner was the 440, right? 4 windows down, 40 miles an hour. That was your air conditioner. My old 68-ton truck, it's got the 2 roll-down windows, 2 vent windows, and 2 floor vents. That's my air conditioning. We've become a little bit soft as a society, as a whole. We've become soft because you got the weatherman telling you all these shocking things, right? Oh, it's going to be hot tomorrow. Okay, well, there's nothing we can do about it being hot. Stay hydrated. Try to stay in the shade if you're outside working, right? Most people know it's a little bit cooler in the shade. You know, and a lot of people can't do that. I understand. I've worked construction, I've plumbed, I've done all that. Sometimes you've just got to be out in the sun, right? The key is to stay hydrated. You've got to stay hydrated, because if you're outside, you're going to sweat and sweat and sweat, and you're going to lose liquids, right? And electrolytes, you're going to lose them. This is not a pitch for nothing, but you need to replace your electrolytes and drink water because it's hot outside. Now, in a full-blown SHTF event with no air conditioning, get this, you may be able to handle the heat better, right? Because you're outside in it more. Some of y'all know I was in Mississippi for a day and a half, Sunday and left Monday. To me, it was hot down there. It was ridiculously hot. You know, it was like an oven. But like I was talking to people that live there, because believe it or not, I'm kind of a people person. I was walking around looking at buildings and asking people, do you live here? And, you know, you'd ask them stuff about the building or something, and we'd talk about the weather because it was hot. And they said, well, you'll kind of get used to it. And that made me think, yeah, you will. If you're in the heat all the time, or you live in an area where it's hot, you get used to it. I'm not saying that you can stand it, but you understand. I'm not saying that you won't get hot, but your body gets used to it. Just like at deer camp this last winter, y'all know I didn't run no heat systems, none. But I like it cold. But after about 2 weeks of being cold, I didn't really feel cold no more. It was just normal, right? That's the way it is. Full-blown SHTF, you don't have no power and stuff, you better get used to a little bit of heat and cold, right? Both of them can kill you. Yes, they can. You know, heat stroke, heat exhaustion, freeze to death, things like that. But what do you think? Do you think that people have just gotten used to air conditioning and it feels hotter to them outside? And they don't spend as much time outside, so they think the sun is shining on them harder, right? And they're getting sunburnt. And you're like, well, how long was you outside? I was only outside an hour and I got sunburnt. Okay, how many hours a week do you stay outside with your shirt off or shorts on? Oh, maybe 30 minutes mowing the yard a week. Okay, you're not spending enough time outside. You know, it's going to feel hot to you, and the sun's going to feel like it's cooking you because you're not used to it. Let me know your thoughts on this little short video. Keep your head on the swivel, be aware of your surroundings at all times, protect yourself and your family at all times. At that moment, you're the only person who can do it. Stay safe, keep prepping, and comment on this, because I want to know what you think about this. We need to discuss this, because anytime you turn the weather on or you see videos on YouTube here, people are telling you it's hotter than it's ever been. Let me know your thoughts on this. Stay safe. Be safe tomorrow, July 4th. Don't be drinking and driving. If you're going to drink, stay where you're at. Don't drive. Don't stay. Do not drink and drive. Stay safe. Keep prepping. Comment on this video and share it with all your family and friends. And let me know what you think about the new logo for the channel. Let me know. Stay safe.